that I had ever done in my career. And we just got done with it. Which type of two inside the chat, if you were able to actually go to one of the live trading and analysis workshops that we went ahead and hosted, not only did you just show up, but you got better as an individual and your pockets definitely grew. We got some people that definitely passed some funded challenges just because of the trade ideas that were pretty much given inside of these workshops. But not only that, but also the aftermath of these workshops, all the literally all the gems that we literally had at our disposal, including this book that has only been released. I think it was only like 20 copies, right? This book that was literally only given to literally a handful of individuals, that went to the VIP experience, So guys, like what we just went ahead and did inside that tour, we definitely created history, not once, but twice. And we're about ahead and create it once again. And then we went ahead and hit Europe up, and whenever we went to Europe, guys, like in the past going on 5 years inside of this industry, Europe definitely changed and altered my perspective and narrative forever, guys. Like first and foremost, with just convention within itself. Type of two inside of the chat if you've ever gone to a convention before. Now, I promise you this, out of each and every single one of you that are typing a two inside the chat, you haven't gone to a convention like this though, unless you went to Europe. But I mean, I went to IM Dallas, and IM Dallas was 2019 and was the biggest convention at that time that I had ever experienced up until this convention. And this one definitely altered my perspective, but also humbled me in a very good way. Myself and Mike were literally like, I just really want you to really think about this real quick. Myself and Mike, we went to a Platinum 5000 and up training, with Alex Morton and all the core leadership within IM Mastery Academy. All the educators were there, all your favorite mentors were there, and all across the globe, right? And we were all sitting in different tables. There was tables with and telling different leaders from different countries, different parts of the world, right? And it's kind of like high school, right? Yeah, in high school, each person, like, there's different cliques, well, the cliques were different countries. We had, you had Germany all the way to the far right. You had Japan that took over like three tables, because Japan is the leading team in the whole IM Mastery Academy. You got Switzerland, you got Netherlands, Norway, all these other countries, and then you would look for the US. And y'all want to know like who is in the US table? Imagine a table that has 8 chairs, and it was just me and Mike sitting on it. It was just me and Mike sitting on that table, representing the US. And just being inside of that room and being the underdog, just like really puts it in perspective. You're just like, you go across the whole country, you do a whole tour, and we spoke in front of more than 300 plus people all together. And then you fly across the sea, and then you realize that you ain't really shit. You just go ahead and get humbled real quick, and you're just like, wow, we're really just playing at a very small scale. And sometimes, and that is one of the biggest things that I always recommend people, is like, go to these places where you'll get humbled real quick. Like, I recommend each and every single one of you guys do it, like, because some of you guys, y'all experience highs within y'all's trading, y'all experience highs within y'all's business or anything. And but guys, you have to be constantly like sitting in tables where you're the small dog. That's the only way that you can actually even elevate. You can't elevate if you're always the top dog in something, if you're always the best at something. So go ahead and surround the biggest advice that I can give you. We're at 111 participants inside the call. Let's go. The biggest recommendation that I can go ahead and give you, go ahead and surround yourself in tables where you know the least, where you own the least assets, where you have the least amount of net worth. And that in those tables, that's where you're going to grow. And because Europe is literally where a lot of my growth happened, just being in the tables and me realizing that we have a lot more to do here within the industry. And if I thought that what we had done, not only here within Powerhouse, but and not only here within IM, but just within the industry, that if I thought that we were actually doing something, we haven't even got to 1% of what we actually are capable and fully capable of. But to say the least, we definitely can't do this alone. And it doesn't just take one person to raise the whole tide. It doesn't even just take two people either, a couple of leaders. It takes the whole organization in order to raise this damn ship, you know. And even the aftermath after Europe, just me traveling and going to places like Barcelona and going to places like Rome, Italy. And I was talking about it with some of the leaders yesterday. I was like, yo, just me going out to those places and you know, like, and it's all really thanks to the work that I had put in like years ago, me being able to really experience time freedom, financial freedom to that extent at a fairly young age. But the biggest thing that I got out of it is while I was doing that trip, I was looking at some of these Chairman 100 stories, you know, and they were traveling to the same places that we were going to, same places, but these people are millionaires within the company. And it's just like sometimes you'll realize that these people are going to the same cities, the same countries that you're going to, but they're experiencing those same experiences at a whole different level, just because of this key thing, which is what I always tell people, literally within like every single one of my trainings. The biggest thing that I always tell people to focus on is cash flow. Cash flow, guys. Cash flow is overall gonna change and alter the game and whatever you're doing forever. Like I saw this one post just about I think it was like 2 days ago. It said, if it said it, go ahead and debate with me. If you're trading with under $10,000, is it just a hobby? You know, like, are you even taking it for real? And I remember the old me from like 2-3 years ago would have definitely been triggered by a post like that, you know, because I was trying to flip a $100 account, $200 account into $250,000, you know. But the name of the game is capital. Name of the game is capital, you know, having real money in the markets. But in order to have real money in the markets, you have to up your cash flow. That is one of the biggest things that I see nowadays, especially in social media. I think social media nowadays definitely gave the wrong idea and the wrong perspective to people. And I think as years go on, and maybe it's an intentional thing, you know, like from the people up there, you know, but a lot of people, like they forget that the biggest thing that you should focus on right now is upping your cash flow and creating such a big cash flow for you to not only be able to fund things like your live account and be able to see the withdrawals that you want to hit, you know, like and not only the take profits that you want to hit, but to be able to live the life that you deserve, that you truly deserve. Each and every single one of us in here, we're God's highest form of creation, but we're not living up to that because we're not grinding like it each and every single day with the opportunity that we have. And me, even just getting back from this trip, you know, like from Europe and everything, I really just realized that I wasn't living up to my highest potential. Like I haven't been playing at my highest potential. But the thing is like, guys, we have 3 months left in the year. Go ahead and type a 4 in the chat if you set some goals in the beginning of the year, but you feel like you're not even halfway there. Like shit, I know. I mean, I can drop a 4, you know, like I definitely still got a lot of fucking things to do, you know, like I wrote out a lot of things inside the vision board. I even went ahead and printed some things out. I know some of you guys, especially I know some of you girls in here, you know, y'all took it a step further and y'all made that vision board all pretty and everything. But how how many times, like, when is it going to be enough? Whenever you just had enough of your own shit, right? Are you really just going to let this year go by and then January comes around? Because January is going to come around real quick. You know, some of you guys been stalling on doing that work that you know you should have been doing for the past couple months because you thought you had what? Time? Right? A lot of you guys in here, a lot of you girls in here inside this call, y'all thought y'all had time, right? Y'all been saying y'all had time. Y'all been saying y'all had time for the past couple months. And then what happens? The next month happens. September happens. Guess what? September's about to end. October's coming, right? Halloween. What happens after October? November. What's in November? Thanksgiving. Then what's in December? Right? Then we got Christmas. And then boom, New Year. That's literally how the year is going to go. Right? And there's a lot of distractions that are going to come into play during those months, during those weeks. A lot of people are going to tell you, and I assure you, because I'm getting the same thing, if not more. You're going to have a lot of family members, a lot of your cousins, a lot of your loved ones, maybe your significant other, or maybe your friends alongside with you. They're going to tell you, take a step back. Go ahead and relax. You deserve it, right? They're going to tell you, or you probably already heard that already. Take a step back. You deserve it. You've been grinding hard. But where does that get you? I mean, that's just me being frank with you, you know? And a lot of people are always like, well, Junior, you're being too hard. I don't think I'm being too hard. I think I'm actually doing the bare minimum right now. It's just that I feel like people nowadays are too soft. So it's not that I'm too hard. It's that I just believe that people are too soft. So that means, therefore, it just means that your standards every single month, you've just been lowering and constantly lowering your standards. So that's why when somebody like myself talks to you in the way that I'm talking to you, then it just seems a little bit more elevated, right? So it's not that I'm going hard. It's just that I'm wanting to elevate your standards real quick, because those people that are telling you to chill out, don't grind as much, don't stress yourself out. You got next year. You got the year after that. Those people, they will tell you that they care about you, but if they actually cared about you the way that I care about you, and I don't even know some of you guys or girls inside the school, if they actually cared about the goals and everything that you're trying to really achieve, they would actually get on your ass. And they would be like, yo, get off your lazy ass and get to work, because you're not even halfway there to what the goals that you said that you were going to accomplish this year. And sometimes you just need somebody to just tell it to you, whether it's in person or whether it's on a Zoom call like this, where somebody like myself, you know, was just simply playing Wolf of Wall Street, and you probably didn't even expect me to go and pop off like this, because I just started the call with me talking about a Wolf of Wall Street and then transferring onto my Europe trip. And you didn't really expect me to really go into this form, but I'm only telling you what I know that you need to hear right now. And it's not only you that needs to hear that, it's also me, right? Because it's like I said, everything that I'm telling you is also things that I know that I need to accomplish, you know. And even for me, like I definitely had one of my biggest weeks this week. And I even posted something just earlier before this call. I said, yo, like I'm in this constant phase where every single month I'm progressing. Every single month, it's like almost you have to meet me every single month, because every single month I either have to elevate spiritually, mentally, financially, physically, but one way or another, I have to progress. And that's how it should be. Every single one of us, we need to be progressing, and somebody needs to re-meet you just because you elevated it in some sort of type of way month to month. Because as humans, we're developed. Like I said earlier, what are we? We're God's highest form of creation, right? But we can't live up to that if we're not constantly elevating, if we're not constantly evolving, if we're not constantly progressing, if we're not constantly like getting outside of our comfort zone and doing what we know we should do. See, each and every single one of you guys and girls inside this call, you know what you have to do. You actually don't even need more trainings, right? How many of you guys and girls like really hopped on this call and you're like, damn, Junior is about to, like talk about like, I don't know, like I was about to tell you how to find imbalances in the markets, or, I was about to tell you some sauce when it comes down to leadership. All these things, guys, these are things that you've constantly heard me talk about time and time again. You've heard these Go Live educators talk about time and time again, but clearly that's not what you need to hear, right? Because you're still in the same position that you were at the beginning of the year. So it's not more so the how-tos that you need to learn, but it's just that you probably just need to get off your ass and get your ass to work. Type of 2 if you resemble with that. Now, for all those people that resembled with that, if you think that I had something to tell you, and for me, like I just wanted to shed some light real quick. But this is the person that I'm bringing up is somebody that definitely gave me that reality check this year and definitely put my ass on check. And because of him, I'm able to experience the highs that I'm currently experiencing right now within my career. And I know that with his words and with his plan of action, I know that you'll be able to do the same. So with that being said, Mike, take it away, brother.
Let's run it up. Who's feeling empowered right now? Who's feeling lit? Who's got some energy just coursing through your veins? Who feels like they kind of got gut checked? Like a little mental reset, guys. I need you to turn up your energy way, way, way high. I need you to feel like someone like you just took dry scoop pre-workout. I need you guys to tap in with me real quick because I have important things to remind you of. A lot of what I'm going to say is not maybe anything new. It might not be something you've never heard, but it's something that you need to hear right now. And one of the most important things that over time I learned was if I keep hearing something over and over again, it's for a reason. And especially if it's not connecting, especially if I ask myself, why do I keep hearing these specific messages, these specific perspectives? Why do I keep hearing this? If it doesn't make sense to you, it's because you're missing the point, especially if it's being said by people who have achieved more than maybe you have or have lived more than you have. So if I say something that you've heard and you ask and you think, I've heard this before, why does this keep running through my ears? Highlight that, write that down, because it might be exactly what you're just missing the point. So with that being said, I can't take any credit for, record breaking year that Junior and a lot of you have. All I've ever done is just position you. Everything else comes from you guys. So all the success that comes from everyone on this call, I have a 0.001%. All I was an influence. I might have just redirected you. I'm more like a GPS, but without the vehicle, without you putting gas in that vehicle, it does not matter. It literally does not make a difference. So guys, I want to talk about a couple key components today. And the first thing I want to talk about is a vision. A vision, because everyone here started their journey with some type of vision. Everyone's is going to be very different. And for some of you, it might have been incredibly blurry. I know I had a very blurry vision when I started entrepreneurship, when I started learning certain skills that would position me way later on. But for most of us, the vision isn't really super clear. But there was at least one major reason why you started. For just a brief moment, I want everyone to think back to that moment where you maybe just, it could have been a minute of vulnerability where you said, what if I could do something different? What if there was more in store for me? Because at least for one moment, when you message someone about getting more information, about learning a bit more, hey, what is it that you're doing? For just a brief moment, you had enough motivation to start something new in your life. And this might have been like literally right now, may have been the second time that that's happened to you since you got started. For whatever reason, you felt called to be on this training. For whatever reason, you were like, you know what, whatever, let me just hop on. But at some point, you had enough motivation to start something new in your life. And there was a glimpse of hope for a different lifestyle. Your life at one point, maybe you had enough frustration to just do something, to send out one text, one DM, one poll response. Maybe you were just pissed off for success and inspired to go get it. When I started my journey, I didn't start doing this because I was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'm gonna be living like this. Do you guys know why I started this journey? It's because I felt undervalued. I felt like I'm making less than $20 an hour, and there's not one person on this planet that takes any of my ideas seriously. What kind of life have I created for myself where I've set the standard of $15 an hour, and nothing I say in any of the environments that I'm in is influential whatsoever because of my age or because of my quote unquote income or social status. So I started this because I wanted to get away from something different. I wanted to consider, is it actually possible to have my definition of freedom, of success? Now, maybe you were pissed off for success, inspired to go get it. Maybe you happen to have an epiphany. You realize that you had never even bothered to dream before. I've asked this question throughout the last maybe 6-7 years in rooms of 5 people and thousands of people. And I asked people the following question. I've asked people this: what would you do with your life right now if the rest of the time of your life was completely yours and you have enough money to never think about money again? What would you do? And what I noticed the first time, and over and over and over again, is most people had never even bothered to dream about it. Most people didn't know. Think about that. Think how insane that actually is. Right now, you're probably like, I've never even thought about like just living my life. I've never even contemplated a reality in which living my own life, however I want, is just my life. So you realize you have never even bothered to dream because the idea of living a life completely created by your choices has never even crossed your mind. Imagine being so indoctrinated your whole life to follow a certain path because that's exactly how it's all been framed for you your entire life, that when the moment someone asked you that, you actually didn't have an answer. Because the moment I asked myself that, I didn't either. It wasn't until I was about 21 years old, I had finished military boot camp because I was so over college after 3.5 years. And I remember just thinking, man, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great to just live whatever life I want? And then I realized I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what it is. I don't even know what it looks like. So think about it. Think about that. All right, create something that you actually have to build towards. If you feel like you're having a hard time staying disciplined, consistent, do you even have something that you're actually building towards? What's moving you forward? What is pulling you forward? Or what is pushing you forward? And that's how I like to think about it. I don't think that there's going to be something that pulls you forward, only one thing, and I don't think there's only one thing that pushes you forward. So when you think about, what you're building towards, who will you be? What will you do? Who's coming with you? And it took me some time to realize that building towards something that wasn't my trigger. That didn't do the impulse, it didn't set me on fire. That wasn't the case. But what does? And for me, what does it more? Now, the life of my dreams, that's something that moves me forward. But what sets me on fire? It's thinking about the things that are painful and understanding having no control in certain things. Thinking about what it would feel like to lose my complete freedom. That sets me on fire. Being put into situations where everything and everyone is relying on me to execute at my highest version, that sets me on fire. Knowing that there's thousands of people every single day watching my every move, that sets me on fire to resonate at a certain level. You might not be that person right now, but you don't have to wait for the worst case scenario to happen. Use your imagination. We have higher faculties: imagination, perception, reason, will, memory, tuition. You have 6 higher faculties. Use these more than your senses. And you've probably heard the praise before. Knock some sense into him or her. I'm gonna knock some sense into him. I want to modify this concept. Now, I like to have conversations with myself. Whenever I feel like I don't have clarity, I have some conversations with myself. I don't listen to myself. That's a dangerous place to be. When you listen to yourself, you might be listening to your ego. You might be listening to your pride. You might be listening to your self-doubt. You might be listening to the weakest version of you. That's why having conversations with yourself goes way further. When you have conversations with yourself, there's dialogue, there's questioning, there's rebuttal, there's debate with all the different people that are inside you. So when I have this conversation with myself, I tell myself, let me knock some higher faculties into myself. Am I actively using my imagination, my perception, my reasoning skills, my willpower? Am I activating my memory? Am I tapped into my intuition? This goes way beyond the physical. You guys have probably heard of this before, right? We're spiritual beings having a physical experience. So shouldn't we connect to our spiritual and mental tools? So imagine being fully prepared when the unexpected comes to fruition. Think about, the things that maybe have kept you up at some point. The darkest moments in your life, saddest, the anger. Where do those things come from? We have this ability to use perception. We have the ability we are all alchemists. We can transform what we feel and completely turn that upside down and use it and leverage these emotions into something really powerful. So when you think about losing somebody, when you think about being broke, when you think about being broken, instead of running away from these emotions, realize that there's power that can be harnessed from every single one of these things. Because for me, that's what works. My vision board, right? My vision board, that pulls me forward because it's ahead of me. So it pulls me forward. But you know what pushes me is the fire that I feel behind me when I think about all these things, when I think about if I'm not sharp, if I don't have clarity, if I'm not prepared, there's thousands of people that are actively learning from me on a daily basis that also will have a ripple. Yo, they were not ready for this smoke. They just were not ready. They were not ready for what I was coming with. I'm gonna tell you right now, this Wi-Fi could not handle whatever I was doing here. Oh my goodness. I don't even know where I left off. I don't even know if I was still here anymore. Jesus. All right, what was the last thing I said? Y'all know better than I do. Last heard I word was a vision board. All right, perfect. So look, for me, a vision board that pulls me ahead. Right? For me, a vision board, all that does for me is it's pulling me forward. But when you think about it, right? How do we propel? We either get pulled or we get pushed. So the vision, what's in front of me, that is pulling me. But what's behind me, right? What's behind me at all moments in time, it's the pain and imagining the worst case scenario. And it's not coming from a point of scarcity. It's I'm leveraging these moments, these emotions in my favor. That's all that I'm doing. And I challenge you to do the same thing. The reason that I'm on Go Live every single day is so that it helps me stay sharp. Because if I'm not prepared, then there's thousands of people that will have a ripple effect that won't be able to experience the highest version. So I create stakes. I create these scenarios so that I can keep going ahead. It's the same thing when you're creating deadlines for yourself. Recently, what I've been doing is I just drop a date. I'm like, and I publicly state it. So it's like, we're going to get it done. It's been said out loud now. We're people of our word. It must be done now. And guess what happens? It gets done every single time. Every single time. But you needed to put stakes. You need to create that for yourself, something that you're going to feel. It's the same way when you think about, hey, the doctor rolls in and goes, you're about to have diabetes if you don't change the way that you eat. You have cancer. The only way you're going to beat this if you absolutely change everything that you do, everything about you. The only way that you can possibly survive. What happens? You hear about it all the time. People get their shit together. People get their shit together. So instead of waiting for the cancer, for losing somebody, right? For the eviction notice, instead of waiting for those things to happen, use your imagination, use your higher faculty, leverage that moment so that you stay on pace, so that you stay bonded to the goals that you created for yourself. And here I'm coming at you, myself, hot, because who else is? Who else is? Tell me. Who else? Most people would rather be in agreement about something comfortable than for one person, just one person, like, yo, I thought we were gonna go and be disciplined, and I thought we were gonna go and you know how we always talk about the like, oh, what if we went over here and what if we went to Europe? I thought we were gonna do something about that. Remember, I thought we're gonna just go play PS5. Okay. Somebody has to. And so I'm okay with being the asshole because somebody has to. And most of you, the reason you're in this type of culture, the reason you're around this type of environment is because you're tired of people telling you that whatever it is that you're doing is fine. You're probably tired, whether you realize it or not. Because for me, fulfilling the greatest potential that I possibly have. That's what it is for me. It doesn't have to be for you, but that's what it is for me. Now, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. The next 3 months, this is usually the fall off period. The next 3 months is where the last 9 months usually go to waste. Talk about it, right? Champions are made in the fourth quarter. Hear about it all the time. Champions are made in the fourth quarter. Look, most champions do not have something that you don't have. They lack something that you do have. They don't have an off switch. They just keep going. And you may have an off switch, which is what's stopping success. You probably do things every single day that you should not be doing. You may not need to do more. We have this twisted perception that more needs to happen in order for what you want to happen. When in reality, a lot of times what works is just not doing certain things. I'm gonna give you a perspective here. When you think about the flow of a river, I don't know how often you guys are thinking about that, but when you know how it flows, what slows it down? What slows down a river? Y'all can participate in this chat. What slows down a river? There's logs, massive rocks, branches, maybe a little, a little dam was built by some animals. Lightning struck, trees fall over. We have litter, whatever it is, right? So there are items, there are things in the way creating resistance in the flow of a river. The river's flowing, the river's powerful, but there's just things in the way. I think we're the exact same. We are very powerful beings, but we just have a lot of shit in the way. And it's not that you need to do so much more. It's you just need to eliminate the resistance, eliminate the distractions, the people, the 47 tabs that are on your screen, the social media notifications sometimes. Could be alcohol, could be weed. I don't know, whatever your thing is. Might be Netflix. It might be your significant other. Might even be your parents. Could be your best friends. I don't know, you do. So we don't need more. We need to stop doing certain things. Because when you get rid of the branches and the trees and everything that's fallen, that's killing the flow of the river, and you just move it away, guess what happens? The river just flows with all force. So setting priorities as the next couple months roll through is going to be essential. And two things will never be equally important or urgent. You can say one thing is more important than the other, but if you're spending 30 minutes doing each, then you're just saying that. You're just saying it. Reality doesn't reflect it. What you're really saying is that both aren't important. So most people can't get shit done because they just can't say no. Quarter four, depending on where you are in your life, is usually a season of no. And this isn't forever. This is maybe just right now. You know better than I do. But if you say this is a priority, then that means you do not do other things. Just because you have time to reply to something doesn't mean you're obliged to. Go back to your priorities. Once you know what to do that correlates directly to your priority, focus on implementation and less on activity. Here's the thing. I guarantee if this whole call, if everybody on this call stopped watching podcasts, stop hopping on trainings after this one, and you just went and did everything that you learned the last 3 months, the chances are that you would make a lot more money, that you would be in much better shape, that you would feel astronomically different about yourself because you went and did all the things that you've been learning. So focus on the implementation. And here's a heads up. Culturally, in every part of the planet, excuses will be 10 times more widely accepted during this next season. It's the holidays. You'll never have an easier time doing absolutely nothing with your life and receiving zero judgment. Never. The next few months, it's absolute heaven for complacency, for validated complacency. If anything, sticking to the habits that build you, the ones that you told yourself that you wanted to have, that you were tired of not accomplishing, right? Sticking to those habits, remaining consistent to the disciplines and the actions that push you closer to your life goals, it's almost frowned upon. Like, bro, really? You're not going to take a break? You're not going to just, you're not going to skip? Just have the food. Just drink the alcohol. Just smoke a little bit. Interesting how we get pushed to do all the easy, to do all the comfortable, to do the vices. How many people will hit you up to go decompress? And how many people are reminding you, yo, remember what you told me you wanted me to keep you accountable for? Hey, this is that text. Remember when you said that you wanted to be the most disciplined version of yourself, that you wanted to do this, this, and this, that you wrote down January 1st? Hey, go get that shit done. The numbers are incomparable. Why? Because during the next season, all of these things, your desire to be who you told yourself you were going to be, it reminds everyone else about the things they said they would do, but they aren't doing. So you being that person, it triggers insecurity everywhere. And that's just a fact. This is the season of consumerism. And I'm not just talking about consuming food and material things, holiday movies, songs, parties. It's a lifestyle of gluttony that's coming your way and is socially accepted everywhere. It's funny, right? It used to be a holiday. Now it's the holidays. And we went from a meal, maybe a day of gratitude or just spending time with family and just, relaxing, which is valid. I'm not saying don't. But now it's a whole month off. It's a whole damn month now. December, chilling. And the thing is, like, I believe in rejuvenation and in gratitude and spending time with the people that you love. But there's always going to be a cost. So this is just awareness so that you can at least see the costs. I'm not saying to not do and live your life and be with the people you love. Definitely not do that. But just understand that you will always have a regret that you will choose. You will always have an opportunity cost in every decision. And sometimes what happens is we make tons of decisions without realizing what's on the other side of them, without realizing that there's always a cost. And so these next few months are very dangerous because you will obliterate the last 9 months of progress. And on top of that, now you have to get back into momentum, January 3rd, with all the good habits that you spent building from January to September. So what you do in the next 3 months, especially the last 6 weeks of the year, that largely sets you up for the first 3 months of the next. So please enjoy your time with your friends and your family, but make it worth the moment. How will you be different when you're catching up with some friends, right? When you're seeing your aunt again, and it has been a year. What kind of energy are they gonna feel when they see you? What kind of goals? Remember last Thanksgiving when you were talking big game about changing your life? Yeah, what the fuck happened? Where's the change? Will they notice anything different in you? You're doing it right when you don't have to say a word and they feel it. They feel it. This is not the Brenda that I saw last year. Yo, what have you been doing? What happened? What changed? What triggered? Will they see more fire in your eyes this time? Will you have just even maybe tangible results of some sort? And I think about this not because you're looking to get validation from anybody, but it's a bond to what your words are. It's in a reflection of how you influence the world around you. You guys know why I love? You guys want to know why I love what I do every single day? Because what I realized over time was the best way I could possibly leave any sort of impact in this world is by simply just being better. If I become greater, then by default, everything around me, every single thing, physically, spiritually, emotionally, through social media, through in person, everything gets influenced. You just existing in a room, that you change forever that moment just because you're there. It's impossible and it is inevitable that you have influence. You are in perpetual influence. And there was a moment where I realized this, and I was like, holy shit. You can never escape your influence. So what is your influence? And so I realized, okay, the best way for me, because there was a moment in 2017 where I started to get more freedom in my time, and I wasn't, balling or anything like that, but I had time. I had more time. I quit my jobs. I was trading good enough. And I remember asking Tim, yo, like, what's next? It was so interesting. I felt like I had time and trading was going good. And I was like, yo, what's the next step? Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? I was wanting for more. And he's like, well, I don't know, like, what are your goals? And I was like, man, I just want to make this world a better place. It's cheesy, but like, it's just what I always, I was born and rooted through just service, just being someone of service. And so I felt like that's it. Like, that's just next for me. And I remember he's like, well, what are you good at? And I was like, this is what I'm good at. This is all I'm really good at. It's like, all right, well, do this and help people do this, something like this. Get where you are better. And it was such a simple response. I remember it's such like, oh yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? But everything changed because I realized the way that I can be of service, be of value, and contribute to the world was by just being the best version of me and showing people what I did. Just here's how I've gotten better because of all the changes that I had to make, because I had all these dumb ways of thinking and I was programmed to be like this. And so when I change this, and this, then these are some of the things that happen. Maybe it'll work for you. And then over time, guess what happens? When you are doing things, then you gain experience. When you reflect on those things, then you gain evaluated experience. And after 8 years, it's like, hey, here's 8 years worth of shit that I did wrong. If you just don't do a whole bunch of these things, you can probably be where I am, and if not, and hopefully way further, even faster. And the best part is that it's so fucking fulfilling. It's so fulfilling to not just get a message, but of gratitude, but just know that the way that person thinks will never be the same. And every single person on this call has that same type of power and greater. The ability to improve your surroundings, the ability to evolve everything that is in your environment, absolutely everything. So the power of contribution was one of the coolest things that I realized. I felt like, how does this make sense? And then that's when I realized that that's the best way to earn income. To help other people be better. Be a part of people's growth process through experience, through something that you've lived, not by theory, but because you went out and you did something, that you changed something, you got better. And so, hey, this is how I got better. I was worse and now I'm better. Here, maybe you can do something similar. So the fulfillment and the leverage that you have is something that absolutely changed everything for me. And so as you guys go forward here, I just wanted to share with you, like, I have one main personal gravitational pull. It's like a centering device for me. And it's to fulfill my greatest potential to inspire my environment. Like, I'm not here for legacy. I don't care if I'm remembered. It doesn't really matter to me. Like, I'm going to die, And so, like, that's it. I don't take that anywhere. So I'm not here for legacy. But the coolest thing is, and I feel like a hidden legacy that you can call it that, is not being remembered because you existed, but because of the changes that you created, the paradigm shift that you left with somebody. So a little piece of you is in one person, tens, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions. And that, whether they remember or not, it will live on. It did create some sort of catalyst shift. So my message to everybody here today, my message to everyone here really is, for the next few months and for the rest of your life, what are the standards that you hold yourself to? Do you have any? So I challenge you to structure who like, just literally create your own standard. Like, this is what I live by. Do you have words, actions that represent you, that when somebody meets you, like, this is who you're going to get? And when you put that on paper, when you see something like that, it hurts when you don't embody those things. Because whether someone realizes it or not, you do. You always know. The reason a lot of people don't set concrete goals is because, not that they want to disappoint anybody else. That's a major part of it. But when you have something very specific and concrete, you broke your own word. So do you even deserve that kind of lifestyle if you broke your own word? If there's people that are counting on you, is it like, do you deserve it? Because that's one of that's a danger for me that I've always thought about. Like, why do we feel entitled to certain things? I remember having an argument about minimum wage. And I was like, you know what? Why are we fighting for minimum wage? We're literally fighting for the lowest standard. That's kind of strange. We're literally all fighting to be the shittiest version of ourselves. That's weird. I understand a minimum wage for, when you turn 16, you got to get a job, or life happens, you got to start at the bottom again. Cool. But why are we fighting so hard for the bottom? Why aren't we fighting just as hard? Why aren't we doing protests for the very fucking top? For just our own definition of success and freedom. Where is that protest? Where are those banners? So my challenge for everyone here today is, what is the standard that you set for yourself, and is leaving your footprint and just your own environment, whether it's your family, your significant other? That's the most thing. Guys, the greatest thing I ever did so far was just the influence that I had around my family. Just knowing that our conversations at the dinner table will never be the same as they were 6, 7, 8 years ago. Ever. Because the way that the people around me think now, it's as if it was a completely different family. The way that we all respond to each other, the way emotional intelligence has evolved, the way everyone's critically thinking and creatively acting, that alone makes a complete difference. So I challenge y'all for the next few months, keep that in the center of yourself. What is my influence? What is my impact to my environment? When I walk into a room, do I leave that place better? And what are the standards that I hold myself to? Love y'all. Go make an impact.